Yeah, I'll admit it. You know, I was an alcoholic when I was in Atlanta. It started out when I first got there. You know, I had a friend, right? And, you know, I known him for years. And he was like, yo, you know, you want to go hang out? And I was like, cool, I don't have no problem with it. You know, I'm new to the city, and I know you're gonna put me on to different places or whatever have you. So, you know, I'm gonna go hang out. So what happened was I drove to his house. I was gonna take an Uber, but the Uber was like $30 there and $30, like $60 trip. I was like, nah, that's all right. I'm just gonna drive, right? So I'm under the assumption that I'm gonna drive, and we're gonna, you know, we're going out or whatever. We're gonna have a few drinks, and after that, you know, I'm gonna chill over his house, sober up, and then drive back home. That was the plan. At least that's what I thought. So I get to his house. He pulls out the Ciroc. This is the first time that I ever drunk Ciroc. Matter of fact, besides the trip to Nevis, to the West Indies, I had a few beers there. But besides that, I hadn't had a drink in 10 years, right? So, of course, you know what, I'm pretty much a virgin, you know, to drinking. So a little cup is gonna mess me up, fuck me up, right? So he pulls out the Ciroc, the Hennessy or whatever have you, and we start drinking, right? Now, we go to this club off of Ponce de Leon, right? And it's this underground club, plays nothing but 90s hip hop. It's pretty good, diverse crowd. I've never partied with like white, Chinese, Mexican, but it was like a very diverse crowd, right? So, you know, we drinking or whatever have you. I told him, you know, hey, listen, after we get back to your house, excuse me, so let me rewind it a little bit. So we took an Uber there and then took an Uber back. So I said within, you know, while we was at the club, yo, do you mind if I, you know, chill at your house for a little while and sober up before I drive home? He was like, cool. So we get in the Uber, we go back to his house. I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I need to drink some water and get some orange juice or something like that, and in order to sober up, right? So I say at least about 30 to 40 minutes passes by, right? And he starts talking about pussy and how, you know, he got this broad coming over. And you know what that means. That's my cue to get my drunk ass up out of there, because he don't give a fuck. Now I'm thinking this nigga is my friend. But here he is talking about pussy and one night stands and shit, and it's just, I knew he was trying to tell me to leave, right? So I get in the car, right? I go up 85, I hit 75, 75 north, and at that time I was living in Marietta, right? I get off the Windy Hill exit, and it's like you turn, it's two turns. Now the first turn is when you turn on into a hotel, but you're going the wrong way when you turn that way, right? And then the second turn is like you going on Windy Hill, right? Windy Hill Road. I made this the first turn that was going the wrong way, which was like the opposite way. Like people were coming up. I'm paranoid because if Cobb County Police sees me do this, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And they'll hit you with a DWI, and then it'll cost you $10,000 to get your license back. So I'm fucking paranoid, right? So I wound up getting out of it, right? And going back home, right? So, and at that time I stayed on Paces Ferry Road, right? In Marietta. So, you know, after that, you know, I didn't drink, right? So here it is, you know, my family, we're new to the city, so we're going everywhere. We're hitting the libraries. We went to Smyrna Library, and the people in there were looking at us like, nigga, what are y'all doing here? Niggas don't read, so why are y'all here? Everywhere we went, just about, motherfuckers was looking at us like we were crazy. And it was like, here we are, we're this colorful family, we have all these colorful shirts on, and you know, we're vibrant, and we're anxious to embrace the city, and you have these racist ass motherfuckers looking at us like as if we don't belong here. And never have I faced that shit. Like, I mean, I've experienced racism here and there, but not just the shitloads of racism that we were going through. And then we used to, you know, go to Walmart and, you know, shopping and shit, and you would see homeless people. Like, I remember I met this female, right? She walked up to me, right? It was off of Cobb Parkway in Marietta. The Walmart, this is Walmart, right? And it's a Sam's Club right there too. It's like a whole shopping area, right? Lady walks up to me and was like, yo, can you spare some change? You know, it's me, my 2 sons, we trying to eat and as well get a weekly hotel. So I had some money on me. I went to Crystal's, got him some hamburgers and chicken and all that shit, and then I gave her $20. But it was like very frequent to see that, you know, to see people everywhere around Metro Atlanta, black people that is, begging for money, not having any money. So here I am, I'm seeing this shit and I'm experiencing racism. You know, a cop had looked at me one day when I was in my apartment complex as if he wanted to shoot and kill me. Like, it was just an abundance of motherfucking racism. I would go to get gas and I would hand the cashier, this happened a lot, I would hand the cashier my money and she would slide, or he would slide the money on the counter, push the money, slide the goddamn money to me on the counter. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, because they didn't want to touch me. So I'm going through that. I'm living in an apartment, and that was a fucked up thing, because we left a house to come to Atlanta to live in an apartment. I'm going through oral infringement, where, you know, the people on the side and the bottom are making noises and shit like that. And I'm just fucked up. I gotta explain to my son that it's a dude that's living in an apartment complex and he's coming out twitching and wearing dresses and shit like that. I gotta explain that shit to my son. So it was just fucking stress, man. So, and the lease ended, and we said, you know what? Maybe we need to go into Fulton County, because maybe that's better, right? So we moved to Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs was a little bit better, but it was just as bad. So I forgot to tell y'all this. While in the midst of, you know, us moving and everything, the mother of my children gets pregnant, right? Again. And, you know, she's about to have the baby, right? So we go to the hospital. She has the baby. Let me take it back. So we go to the hospital. You know, they're telling her to push. The doctor says, oh shit, we're gonna be able to deliver this child with everything intact, the placenta, the embroidered sac, and everything intact, right? So they're just anxious, right? So they're telling her to push, and she's straining, she's pushing harder, and then all of a sudden her water breaks, and the water said and splatters all over the floor, right? So they, you know, she has the baby's healthy or whatever, she's straight, and you know, here it is 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, yo, I gotta go home so I can feed the children. Get in the car, go home, feed the children. I get a call about 11:30. Hey, listen, we need you down at the hospital. There's an emergency. There's something that happened. I get to the hospital. This is Northside, that is. I get to Northside Hospital, and I go to her room. She's not there. The baby's not there. The only thing that's there is a table with her belongings on it. So the nurse pushes me to the side and she says, you know, she suffered a seizure and a heart attack or some other shit. And I'm like, how? She's perfectly healthy. You know, this broad has never done drugs in her life, ever. She's a vegetarian. She's done no drugs, right? She didn't drink, she didn't smoke, or none of that shit, right? So she said that they had to resuscitate her for 20 to 30 minutes because she was like almost about to die. So I'm breaking down, right? Because they're saying that they had to induce her into a coma. She had to go. They had to put her into a coma, right? So induced coma. So the children are hearing it. We're crying and all the rest of that stuff. So somebody winds up watching my children for a second, right? So I go back in there and I see it, right? She has her tongue hanging out, and while she was going through these seizures, she bit her tongue like 10 times, and her hands is like this, and her eyes are rolled back, and under her fucking fingernails is skin that she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she has skin in her fingernails and blood in her fingernails, and it fucked me up. So I had to wind up calling her mother. My father came down here from New York. Everybody came down to help, right? So we're fucked up because she's still in this induced coma. So I say after the 4th day, she came up out of it, right? They took her up out of it, right? Now, while she was in that coma, they had like pads that was freezing, like she was frozen. Like I touched her forehead and she was frozen like a block of fucking, like a turkey that you put in the freezer, like that. So I'm fucked up. I get home. My father had got a hotel for a couple of days, so my children were over there with him, and I started drinking. Fucked up, crying and all the rest of that shit, breaking the fuck down, because here I am. I made the biggest mistake ever in my fucking life to move to Atlanta, because everything is just fucked up. Everything. I'm experiencing racism. I look at the fucking the news every day. It's somebody fucking dying. Every day somebody's getting killed. Multiple people. And I'm saying to myself, what the fuck did I do? Why did I get my family into this shit? Because it was my stupid ass idea to take my family down there. And I'm looking and I'm seeing my family slowly but surely fall apart. And the baby, they had to keep the baby. And we breastfeed all of our children. So the baby was drinking Similac and shit. And that fucked me up too. And I could only see the baby for like 20 minutes out of the day. Here it is, strangers holding my baby. Because her mother, the mother of my children, is fucked up. So, make a long story short, they said that she had a DVT. The same thing that happened to Serena Williams is the same thing that happened to the mother of my children, right? So they had to put this rod, some, I forgot what they call it, but in order to, if there were any more blood clots, that thing would like capture it. So they injected it into, put it in her neck and put it and took it and brung it all the way down to her major artery, right? So, make long story short, she had to go get blood thinners, pills and shit like that. She had to go to Grady Hospital to get checkups, and slowly but surely she was being nursed back to, her health. Now, within that, she tries to get, I think it was SSI or something like that, and they didn't give it to her. So now we in a situation where, we gotta take our savings and money that we had to the side to do other things to pay the bills, because she's out of work, I'm hustling, but it's like, yo, we gotta motherfucking manage. We gotta manage, right? So, make long story short, it was time for her to get the thing out of her major artery. And the stencil, the metal rods, they broke off, but they wound up getting it out, right? So I wound up meeting a friend of mine, right? She's my friend now, Haitian female, right? She's a nurse. So I told her what happened, and she said, you know what? You have a case. Because what they tried to do is, in which all hospitals try to do, they tried to remove everything out of her at one time, because it's costly to remove the baby and then the placenta and everything else. So what they were trying to do is cut the cost of the pregnancy. And within them doing that, what happened was the body had a chain reaction and formed blood clots. That sack, the water that splat out got into her blood. And it just fucked us up. So we're right now, talking to lawyers and shit like that. But that's the shit I went through, and I just started drinking. I started fucking binging, and I just couldn't take it. I couldn't take it anymore, man. And I got the fuck up out of there. And now I'm recovering, I'm recouping. You know what I'm saying? These are my war scars, these bags under my eyes and shit like that from all of the stress that I went through in Atlanta. And it had nothing to do with fucking money. It had something to do with racial tension that's down there. I was mad all the fucking time because of the traffic and just how people are and how they treat one another. I remember I went to the YMCA and I got in an argument with two females. And you know what they said? They was like, because we were talking about health, right? And they were dead ass wrong about what I was talking about, right? They were like, oh, what kind of degree you got? What do you know? You don't have no degree. We shouldn't even be talking to you. Like as if I was a nobody. And the men that I said that I knew that have money and all of that shit, they would tell me, hey man, you intelligent, you smart. And one of them did say that they were gonna help me out. But they never did. They never did. Everybody's all talk down there. They'll talk that talk, but they don't walk that fucking walk. And I have to admit that this was the worst experience I ever had in my life. And I'm glad I left. Now we're doing better. But this is my story, man. I almost fucking died by binging, and the mother of my children almost died as well. My name is Langston 2092. I want you to like, comment, share, and subscribe.